Namaste, Om, and good morning, or good evening, whichever it is when you're watching this. I never know, so many of my friends are in the East and I'm in the United States. First this morning, I just wanted to say a few words about this idea of teachers. Okay, I believe that every person that comes into our lives, every circumstance of every day, our difficulties, our struggles, our successes, those are all our teachers. Every aspect of our life, every moment of our being is a teacher. When we're mindful, then we have this understanding that we make mistakes. All of us make mistakes. I've been doing this for 5 years, and I've talked to a lot of teachers, gurus, and I find that even the greatest among those, and I have met some really, really great teachers. I've met some that were not so great as well. But the fact of the matter is, every single one of them still had to practice, still had their struggles. When we're in the human frame, no matter how hard we practice or how evolved we become, there are still those little things that crop up that we have to struggle with and practice. That's how we grow. We grow through our mistakes and our difficulties. Our mistakes are our greatest teachers. Of all the teachers we have, our mistakes are our greatest teachers. This idea that if you're a teacher, you're infallible, and we put teachers, gurus, up on pedestals, and they sit on the pedestal. And I've been in rooms on Facebook where some of these folks are, and what happens is everybody's just they do a little teaching, and then everybody. I've seen hundreds of people. They just go Jai Guru Dev, Jai Guru Dev. Everybody's bowing. And it's doubtful to me that anybody has even really thought about the teaching. The fact of the matter is, the best way we can honor those who teach us is by asking good questions and really practicing what they teach. Now, I am not a great teacher. I'm just a soul who has the beautiful sight to be able to tell the beautiful simplicity of the little way. I am not perfect. One of the problems about this teacher concept is we put our teachers up on pedestals, and then we expect them to be perfect. And then too often we try to tear apart that perfection, just because if we could do that, if we could show they have one imperfect area, one thing they're not totally clear on, then we could throw out all of the other stuff they said that was really true and not practice any of it. And also all this reverence for the teacher. We should have reverence for our teachers. I'm not saying that. But don't let the reverence become the goal. Unfortunately, when we start worshiping the teacher, then we forget that the best way of worship is to do the practices that the teacher points to. The practices are what's important to your soul, not the embodiment of the teacher. Whether or not that teacher is is 100% perfect every minute of every day, and also get over the idea that there's some kind of magic involved here. It's really good when miracles happen. I believe in miracles. I've seen miracles. I've seen miracles that have happened through this presence. But they're candy. The real purpose of the spiritual path is to inspire devotion and dedication to the practices that will create our evolutionary becoming, so that we can become who we really are. Now, the little way, I want to talk about the little way. What is the little way? Many, many years ago, there was a saint, a young girl who became a contemplative nun in the Carmelite order, which was a very, very strict contemplative nun order. Her name was Saint Therese, and she taught the little way of spiritual childhood. And what she said was, not all of us are destined to be great gurus. Not all of us are destined to be great intellectuals. But surely, for all of us, there is a path to becoming one with the essence within that is God, that is the great consciousness. And so she said, not all of us can be roses. What about the violets and the daisies? And that's what most of us are in this world. We're violets and daisies. So, how do we become? The little way is a way of becoming where we use every single breath and every instance in our life as the teachings, as the lessons. What are we trying to become? Here's the simplest practices that I could tell you. When you get up in the morning, look in the mirror. And the face looking back at you, tell it, you are my best friend. And then what you're going to try to do during the day is you're going to try to practice and make that be so. And I'm going to outline some real simple practices here. First of all, before you get out of bed, allow yourself enough time. I know everybody's probably in a hurry. They're getting ready for school or work. Allow yourself enough time for a few minutes of reflection. That means you want to close your eyes while you're in the bed and just relax. Don't go back to sleep. That would be a mistake. And you're going to breathe. And you're going to say thank you for the beautiful day ahead of you, for all the moments you're going to have to practice. If you start your day with gratitude, your day is going to begin in a way that'll lead to better results. So always try to say a prayer of gratitude and seek to find that peaceful center. Say your mantra on your breath. As the breath comes in, you see it opening all your spiritual centers. Your heart, it travels down your spine and clears out all of the impurities there and travels down to your toes. And then when you exhale, you see all of the tension that you're already finding in yourself, even though you just woke up. You see it dissolve. And then make your aspiration for the day. Aspire that as often as you can during the day, you're going to say your mantra, whatever that mantra should be. It happens to be, it's, just say it with your breath, and you're going to follow your breath, and you're going to try to be aware of exactly what your mind's doing. See, here's one of the problems. Our consciousness, after we come into this world, our consciousness becomes blocked by all of the stuff that's going on around us. And the way we can counter that, it isn't enough. I mean, it's wonderful to meditate a couple of times a day. I really believe in the power of meditation, and I believe in the power of yoga. Yoga clarifies your body so that the meditation aspect of your life is much more powerful. Okay, but it isn't enough just to do those two things. And we certainly shouldn't get attached to those things. Getting attached to the intellectual aspect of things, getting attached to meditation, getting attached. These are all tools. We don't attach ourselves to the tools. What we want is the results. And the results are a result of releasing attachments, all attachments. We can't be empty if we don't release all our attachments. The attachments are what keep us bound to the delusions of the world of form. Okay, that's a little too complicated for this conversation. So we're getting up in the morning, and we're having a positive aspiration. Here's the thing. What you aspire to, you practice. What you practice, you become. So practice is every minute of every day. There's no situation in our lives that are not a part of the lessons and the teachings of practice. Every difficulty we have is just a lesson. If you glean the blessings of the lesson, then you'll begin to really grow.
Like Nirvana by Weird Al Yankovic is pretty hilarious.
Hang on. Okay, sorry. Alexa talks sometimes when she's not supposed to. I don't know why. Anyway, so you're looking in the mirror and you say, I will be my own best friend. And you aspire to come back to your practice. Come back to your mindfulness, your awareness. The problem is that we have our mind, our consciousness that we've developed in the world, our world consciousness, is like a horse and cart. Only trouble is the horse has nobody driving it. So it's basically going around and just responding. It's just running without us really having any kind of conscious control. We repeat the same patterns of behavior. When we see certain people, we like that, and we see other people, we don't like that. We see certain foods, we like that, we don't like that, and we just follow whatever our brain decides to do all by itself. Mindfulness puts the driver in the driver's seat, and it's much, much better to live your life consciously being aware of, at least being aware of what you're thinking and why you're thinking it. We can't dissipate any of our suffering if we just hide it and stay in the same mud puddle all the time. And a lot of people do that. They're sitting in mud puddles, and the mud puddles of their mind, and feeling that they don't have any power. Give yourself the power. It's up to us to give ourselves the power. The power is mindfulness. The first step, you can't change what you don't realize. The first step is realizing. And how do you do that? How do you start really realizing what your mind is doing? And you want to bring that consciousness to the forefront more and more and more. At first, you have to be patient. There's no magic solutions. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not flip on the switch and everything's fine. And I don't believe there's any magic bestowals or any of that stuff. What I believe is it's up to us to develop the mindfulness and then to practice until our inner will, begins to emerge above the din of all that the world throws at us. Okay, so it's a matter of being mindful. Now, so what I do is I aspire to sing my mantra on my breath in my heart every moment of the day that I can. When I'm walking, when I'm working, every minute that I can. And when you start doing this, sometimes that takes time. It's really, really good though. When you walk, if you breathe and walk and breathe and walk, do it gently and quietly and mindfully. Feel each step you take with the beat of your heart mantra. And if you do these things, when I'm working, when I'm washing dishes, even when I'm doing this, I try to be constantly aware of that heart mantra, that breath. And what this does in the end, if you practice it every moment of every day, and we'll be talking about lots of different things to practice while we're doing it, but if you bring yourself back to your breath, take little 1-minute vacations during the day. Every time it occurs to you, you've aspired to do this in the morning. I'm going to try to come back to my heart mantra and my breath every chance I get during the day, especially during those times when I feel impatient or like I feel like I'm getting angry. When you feel those things happening, it's especially important. Just take a minute, take a breath. Breathe, close your eyes. Feel the breath cleansing you. Let the breath out. Now while you're doing this, you're going to turn the camera around and you're going to look inside your mind. And you're going to see how you respond to other people. Is somebody triggering you? Are you feeling afraid? Are you feeling nervous? Is there anxiety? Is there impatience? Do you just want to get out of the job and go home? All of these things, just watch them, embrace them, and then try to dissipate them. Try to let them melt away. You're releasing them and coming back to a center of peace. And you're going to look at the flow of all that's going on in the consciousness stream, and you're going to see yourself as a rock in the middle of the stream, as the stillness in the middle of the chaos. You see yourself as being still. And as you see yourself being still, you also can flow with the stream that goes around you. Just flow, go with the flow, they say. And this is the beginning of the practice of mindfulness. And it sounds like meditation, but what it is promising yourself that every second of every day you'll be devoted to mindful self-awareness, because mindful self-awareness leads to mindful self-realization. The more we are mindful, the more we can transform and unfold the inner nature that is our true reality. But it takes a lot of detachment. Is very, very important in this process. If we are attached even to the idea of becoming enlightened, if we attach to, oh, I want to be enlightened because I want, as long as it says I want, then the wanting will go unanswered. It'll be, the more you want it, the more you want it for you, the more it will recede. Because becoming who we really are is selfless. The human self is a delusion in this. What's beyond the human self is pure being, the pure being of pure consciousness. So every day, in our little ways, in our families, in our schools, wherever we are, that is all a part of our practice. And we'll make mistakes, but when we make mistakes, instead of sweeping them under the rug, a lot of people do that. They have a lot of dirt under their rugs. Instead of doing that, we look at our mistakes and we admit where we were wrong and why we were wrong, and we try to make it right with the other person, and we learn from it. We say, wow, I was really impatient. Look what my impatience did. Or I was really angry. And in the process of being angry, I hurt people that didn't need to be hurt and really didn't have anything to do with the situation. We all do that. We all do these things. We all make mistakes. It isn't how many mistakes you make or how far you fall when you're really devoted to practice. What really counts is how passionately you look at your difficulties and you look at your mistakes and how you put them together to rise, to really make a change. Our suffering, a lot of our suffering, here comes my cat, you get down. You're a camera hog. That's what you are. Yeah, look at me in that tone of voice. Anyway, now he's distracted me completely. Anyway, the thing is that practice is very simple. You don't have to have a lot of intellectual knowledge. In fact, the more knowledge you have, the more baggage you're carrying. I find that if we just keep it really simple, it's tough enough to devote yourself to actually transforming into the real essence of being that is our truth. We all can do it. Every single one of us. This idea that you have to go to a monastery, a lot of people, that's the best thing for their practice. And different souls have different attunements. Okay, but for just ordinary people that are living ordinary lives, self-realization is just as possible. And you don't have to have any great knowledge to do it. All you have to do is have the will to do it. It's the way of love. You can't, it's very simple. The great consciousness is love, pure love. So the essence of our being is pure love. So, to be love, if you want to the goal of self-realization is to find union with the heart of being. That's what everybody wants. That's the treasure. That treasure is inside of us all the time. It's just that we have all of these levels of, I call it the cloud of unknowing, and that's not, I didn't make that term up, but it really is the cloud of unknowing. And it's all created inside of us from our communal obsession with desire in the world of form. But that's not a true reality. Our true reality is love. So how do we become our true reality? We have to practice the attributes of love. That's what the little way is. It's practicing the attributes of love. One step, one breath at a time, until we reach emptiness. Emptiness sounds kind of empty, doesn't it? It isn't empty, because once you reach emptiness, once all of this worldly delusion dissipates, it's like the sun comes out. It's like you've been lost in a cloud, and the sun comes out, and suddenly you can see the beauty of love's glory, because once you are empty of your worldly self, the essence of being fills you. And it fills you, and it fills you, and it fills you to overflowing. And that's the purpose of the little way, and we all can do it. No soul is exempt. God, the great consciousness, has a no soul left behind plan. We are all eternal beings. We have to realize that to become who we really are. So that's the little way. And please realize I am just an ordinary soul, old granny from the United States. And I've learned a lot about this because I've had to practice really hard, because I walked through some of the worst suffering a child and an adult could live through. I had to do that so that I would be able to speak to that and to speak to all of you. So it's been a wonderful journey. But I'm telling you all of these things not because I learned it in some book, but because I walked it. I practiced it. Every minute of every day. Every breath. Every situation. There's nothing in my life that is not of the essence, that is not of these practices. And the last thing I have to say, if you want to be peaceful, and peace is the ultimate goal, to bring all of our inner nature to peace. Peace is the portal to divine love's essence. So, peace, to bring all to peace. Anyway, I forgot what I was going to say there, but that's going to be it for this, because I know we can't make these things too long. But I just wanted to, we will be talking about the little way. The little way is just simply a very, very, very clear way of practice for everybody. Doesn't matter what religion you are. It has nothing to do with religion. It simply has to do with becoming the essence of love that we are all born to be. Amen. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Be peace, be love. Amen.